If you're familiar with any of his work at all, you probably know Bo Burnham isn't like most comedians. Comedy as a genre is an ever-changing medium, and in this day and age, it's rare to come across an entertainer who challenges our thought process and flips the very idea of comedy on its head, all while being funnier and more creative than the majority of their colleagues, which is one of the many factors that sets Bo Burnham apart from the rest. Comedy is a weird thing. Of course, anyone will tell you it's subjective, as everybody has their own definition of what it actually means. Just because I have brain damage and think tweeting "Hey there, Delijah" is a classic example of grade A comedy at 3 in the morning doesn't mean everyone does, and that's fine. You may think that mom from TikTok writes high-quality comedy, to which I would implore you to kindly check yourself into the nearest mental facility as soon as possible.
Sorry, who are you?
I'm your baby Ira!
Baby? Who's baby?
Your baby, your one and only baby Ira. I love you.
I don't know anybody. I have had a hell of a time. I guess you have to go and find your mommy, papa. You know, just go away. Go, choo.
The fact of the matter is, everyone has their own range of preferences and taste when it comes to things that make them laugh. But that doesn't mean you can't measure or dissect the different strategies and factors that might make one piece of comedy more effective than another. Take, for example, the world's punching bag Amy Schumer. There's a reason she's so universally hated across so many demographics. Most of her material is centered around one thing.
My pussy smells like a small barnyard animal, okay?
And there's nothing inherently wrong with edgy humor either. There is kind of a thrill you get from laughing at jokes that are so widely taboo and off limits. Forbidden topics can be hilarious when done right, but when you use sex jokes to overcompensate for your abundant lack of comedic skills, you kind of set yourself up for failure. Also, she steals half her jokes, but if you contrast that vapidness with someone like George Carlin, Joan Rivers, Norm Macdonald, you begin to recognize the critical tools necessary for making an audience laugh, some of which even go so far as to challenge and transform the way we behave as a collective, with the perfect example being Bo Burnham.
Wanna hear a rap? Now I don't know if all Boy Scouts are gays. They could probably tie the knot in like 50 different ways. Got a safe full of cherries cause I pop it and lock it. A girl's like a fridge, once a week you should stock it. Girl, if you're into rimming, it's only safe if you're swimming. And girl, don't sit on that couch cause I treat my objects like women. I spit fire like I just blew a demon. My shit's so hot, I'll leave your toilet bowl steaming.
Bo Burnham is a young entertainer who began posting to YouTube in 2006, over 12 years ago.
Loose, I replete you, you're a first-time vegan and it's nice to meet ya. I'm Bo, yo, I'm the greatest rapper ever and a
He uploaded his first two songs, My Whole Family and My Little Secret, initially just to share with his family. But once they quickly took off, Bo began to post more, and before long, he had developed a pretty sizable audience for himself. From there, it would only be a matter of time before his self-recorded, rinky-dink YouTube videos turned him into a cultural icon. Not dissimilar from other big internet names at the time, it was his brash, unapologetic humor and edgy sarcasm that young viewers were drawn to, or as the Boston Globe described, simultaneously wholesome and disturbing, which isn't exactly inaccurate.
Hey, I'm Chris Kringle, I'm a sex addict. Hey, I'm Santa Claus, I'm the king of snow. I hate my wife because she is a ho-ho-ho. She used to please me every day, then she made it clear that Santa's only supposed to come once a year. Bitch.
Bo has never shied away from controversy. Even back in the day, he was just as assertive and edgy as ever, with a lot of his early songs delving into religion, race, gender, homosexuality, anything a pubescent teenager deems amusing, really.
I wish it could go back to the way it was. It's not easy now because my whole family thinks I'm gay. I guess it's always been that way. Maybe it's cause of the way I walk that makes them think that I like boys.
But despite how some may have received his content, one thing was for sure, the kid had some f***ing talent. In 2008, he was signed by Comedy Central Records shortly before his first EP, Bo for Show, was released worldwide. He was only 17 years old, so if you didn't feel unproductive before, I'm sure you do now.
My name is Bo, for show, a born Bostonian, Aryan librarian at the word Smithsonian. The rapper scatter, it hides its ingenuity. I gave it this little part to give it continuity.
His first comedy special aired on Comedy Central only 2 years later, at the age of 19. It was obvious to many he had a bright career ahead of himself. Bo would later go on to release 2 more comedy specials, which we'll get into in a bit. But between these events, he also found the time to work on his own MTV show, a book of poetry, and along with directing and writing the critically acclaimed feature-length film 8th Grade, he made some pretty slick vines.
Is there anything better than pussy? Yes, a really good book.
Bo is anything but a one-trick pony. He's proven he can not only sing, rap, direct, act, write, but he can also put on a killer stand-up comedy show that draws in millions of eyes, whether it be seen at a venue, Netflix, or his very own YouTube channel. But you still may be asking yourself, what actually makes Bo so unique? See, with most other celebrities or icons we see in the media, there is a certain kind of appeal that either comes from their personality or the content they produce. Artists will either put so much work into their craft that you appreciate their content over them, or vice versa, where you admire their personality over whatever it is they do for a living. Bo is a very rare exception to this phenomenon. He doesn't build a reputation strictly on his character or his content. Instead, he manages to create a perfect balance of the two, giving his work a very real, down-to-earth feeling, a concept I think many people my age are hungry for. Just look at all the biggest celebrities of today. They all have their finger on the pulse of the market, meaning they know how to captivate you without actually doing or saying anything of importance. Comedians who ground their act and their personalities tend to stick to relatable, safe jokes that do little to actually challenge the art form. Similar to how musicians will write catchy, repetitive hooks that all sound indistinguishable from one another. Why? Because it works, and it's been working for a long time. They'll stop beating a dead horse when it stops spitting out money. A harsh reality that Bo has been known to mock relentlessly.
I have a bit in my act that sort of makes fun of Justin Bieber and some of these young pop stars. Basically, it's a song and it mocks the way that those songs are written, which I think is... What the songs basically do is they're love songs to girls, and they describe the girls as vaguely as they possibly can so that every girl can think that that song's about them. So it's like, I love how your fingerprints are different than everybody else's, and like, I love how your eyes have that like bluish, brownish, greenish color, and your torso is an arm on either side of it, or like whatever.
By acknowledging this fact, Bo already comes across 10 times more genuine than most of the shallow excuses for entertainers he's making fun of. The self-absorbed, money-hungry nature of the industry is confronted by Bo in every single one of his specials, but is addressed most blatantly in his first show, Words, 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 when he closes his performance with a song called Art is Dead, encapsulating the tragic state of show business today while expressing his personal feelings towards his own success.
Must be psychotic, it must be demented to think that I'm worthy of all this attention, of all of this money you worked really hard for. I slept in late while you worked at the drugstore. My drug's attention, I am an addict, but I get paid to indulge in my habit. It's all an illusion. I'm wearing makeup,
It's Bo's unequivocal transparency and self-reflection that makes him more than just a comedian. He's making us laugh while forcing us to confront the very real and very horrific side effects of fame and fortune, undercutting the legitimacy of his own work.
The show has got a budget. The show has got a budget. All the poor people, way more deserving of the money, won't budget because we wanted our name and lights. When we could have fed a family of 4 for 40 fucking fortnights. 40 fucking fortnights. I'm an artist, please God forgive me.
He doesn't actually deem himself worthy of the success he's garnered. He literally feels guilty watching himself turn into the very concept he opposes. And to me, honesty that brutal can only be regarded as pure inspiration.
I never talk about what I really think about on stage directly because I don't value what I think at this point about those issues. Well, just really, like, I don't think anyone wants to get up and hear a 20-year-old like tell them what they think about how the world works.
Would you do me a favor?
So I just kind of make jokes.
But it's not just his self-examination that makes Bo so appealing. That's not even the half of what puts Bo Burnham on the same level as the most talented and well-respected comedians in the game. Bo's stand-up is less of a traditional comedy routine and more of a full-out performance. He puts his all into his work, and it definitely shows. For example, the element of surprise is a very common one used in comedy. We laugh at things that are extraordinary and take us by surprise. Bo takes this tool to the next level, where instead of going down the traditional route of what we may expect him to say or do, he completely throws our predictions off course, constantly leaving the audience wondering what the f comes next. He uses lighting and sound effects, pauses, and the music to appropriately set the tone, giving personality to the very atmosphere around him. This destabilizes our expectations and in turn heightens the overall quality of his comedy. So it's really no wonder he's been able to make a name of himself so quickly. Take for example his right brain left brain song. The act begins with Bo's neurological functions being split in two, separating the analytical left brain from its creative and emotional counterpart.
Isolation complete. This is Bo's left brain. Objective, logical, cold, analytical, aware of patterns, aware of trends. He's efficient. And a prick. This is Bo's right brain. Subjective, creative, sensory, aware of feelings, aware of people. He's emotional.
Yes,
And an idiot.
it's your opinion, so just
Okay,
careful with
boys.
opinions, you.
Play nice.
I am the left brain, I am the left brain. I work really hard till my inevitable death brain.
Adopting the persona of the left brain first, Bo's words are matched perfectly with the music and the lighting, allowing a cold, methodical feeling to drape over the audience, giving his lyrics all the more weight. After a few seconds, the right brain begins singing, in which the lighting and music shifts almost immediately to match a warm, light-hearted atmosphere.
I like Oreos and pussy. Yeah, okay. And I cried for at least an hour after watching Toy Story 3. I am the right brain. I have feelings.
Bo uses these typically overlooked tonal devices to paint a message that's eventually exhibited towards the end of the song, where the two sides begin to argue over which is more responsible for Bo's declining mental state. It's soon made clear that both of these halves are failing to keep Bo happy on their own, so he's turned to comedy as a means to find true contentment. But even then, the job still comes with its own set of issues that Bo directly addresses in his closing act, We Think We Know You.
Thank you so much. You guys have been absolutely amazing. You've been absolutely amazing. That's the end of the show. I probably should have ended it on a sort of higher note there. But yeah, that's the end of what? I hope you liked it.
Bo, oh my God. How are you? I haven't seen you since like freshman year.
The bit begins with three people coming up to Bo after becoming famous: an old high school acquaintance, a greedy Los Angeles manager, and one of his haters who thinks he knows what he's all about.
We think you've changed, bro. We know best.
You suck.
We think you've changed, bro. We know best.
You suck.
We think we know
You.
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 The theme linking these parties together is that they all want to change and mold Bo into their own image.
We think we know
You.
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 We think we know.
As their voices get louder, he attempts to tune them out with music. The message here is pretty straightforward. He's taking his biggest insecurities and personal failings and turning them into something artistic, something beautiful for other people to enjoy. As the song progresses, the music gets louder until the voices are almost entirely drowned out. His creativity is like a shield against the people who think they know him best.
Mr. Burnham.
This continues until the very end when you hear one last Mr. Burnham as he points to the audience while the lights fade to black, meaning that even his audience, the very people he works night and day to entertain, is changing him. Many comedians struggle with this, not just because the industry facilitates it, but because the people involved are often psychologically troubled themselves. And because we live in a culture where the signs aren't always so obvious, Bo is attempting to shed light onto this phenomenon whether we as an audience want him to or not. He directly confronts his own demons on stage in front of millions of people, most notably at the end of his last comedy special, Make Happy, where he not so subtly delves into the complicated and harrowing reality of fame. The song begins as kind of a dig at Kanye, where he once again mocks the self-obsessed nature of celebrities. But despite the lyrics being almost nonsensical and random on the surface, they begin to paint the perfect metaphor for what Bo is grappling with every day, and how not a single one of his managers or agents ever warned him of the mammoth burden of stardom. Bo has already spoken candidly about his own mental struggles, with this song being an accurate representation of all the feelings that come along with being in the public eye. The ingredients represent his feelings, and the overflowing burrito only goes to show how truly broken he is on the inside, thanks to the overwhelming pressure of being a celebrity. He has all this money, all this attention, everything he could ever dream of, and yet at the end of it all, he still isn't happy.
Look at them, they're just staring at me like, come and watch the skinny kid with a steadily declining mental health, and laugh as he attempts to give you what he cannot give himself.
Ending the show by exhibiting the massive toll the industry has taken on his mental state, and that he hopes he can somehow give his fans what he could never give himself: happiness.
Handle this right, handle this right, handle this right now. Thank you, good night, I hope you're happy.
Bo is not your typical comedian. He weaponizes tragedy and uses it to his creative advantage, delivering harsh truths to millions of people through the means of comedy. Like many comedians, his emotional outlet is on stage, only he's more upfront and confrontational than most entertainers could ever dream of being. I think the average audience member wants something real and honest, which is why Bo has found so much success in a day and age where fake personas thrive and artificialness is praised. He forces us to reevaluate our own purpose while challenging the confines of the industry he is a part of. He wants to bring the complications of entertainers to the forefront, all while making his fans happy, something he still struggles to give himself. By expressing himself so openly, he's not just funny, he's authentic, mind-numbingly creative, and talented beyond belief, and I can only imagine where he's going from here.
So if you know or ever knew how to be happy on a scale from 1 to 2 now, are you happy? You're everything you hated. Are you happy? Hey look ma, I made it. Are you happy?